Never saw you go down the box like that, Rob.
No.
Try and win a pen.
Strong. Get your arms up, protect that ball.
2-0.
Weak centre half.
That's what I said though, wasn't it?
45 minutes to go yet, mate. I'm in a good place. I think I'm better than you.
But that was a good 45 minutes for Norwich, wasn't it? I mean, bear in mind that Luton had 1 or 2 half chances and probably could have gone ahead.
Yeah.
Norwich looked again in control of the pace of the game. Looked like when they get the ball in possession, they're speeding things up and look strong defensively as well.
Yeah, they looked a bit lethargic in the early first 5, 10, 15 minutes. And fair play to Luton, they had a go. You know what I mean? They had some quality going forward and unlucky not to score when he hit the post and whatever. But after that moment, it sort of like jump-started Norwich into action. And from then, basically all the chances have probably been at this end of the pitch, Luton's end. So it's a fantastic performance, but like the last 30 minutes, but they're doing what they're doing. They look so smooth now, confident. Everyone's confident on the ball. Everyone's confident receiving the pass. Pukki's making the runs. Cantwell and Buendia, okay, they're missing them every so often, but they're still threading those balls around. And Pukki looks so confident now in his game and whatever. Like, and it's been an all-round performance apart from that first 10 minutes when they sort of like needed to like I say a little kickstart. But from then, I mean, they look completely in control.
An instinctive Timo Pukki is as good as anything in this league, isn't it? Because when he doesn't have to think about it, he often puts it in the back of the net. At times this season, we saw against Brentford, when he's got a little bit more time to think about it, maybe the decisions aren't quite right and he doesn't score quite as many goals. But inside the 18-yard box, balls come to him. More often than not, he's put it in the back of the net.
Like I say, the first goal, you mean he's done fantastically well because Todd's played it inside and just behind him, but he's had the quickness of feet to control it. And then, like maybe 2-3 months ago, he might have tried to have another touch, but no, not now. Not in Timo Pukki's form now. Like puts his foot through it, flies into the roof of the net. And the second one was a typical goal poacher's goal. You know what I mean? Just in a good position. If it drops in that area, I'm going to slide in and get it. And like I say, the confidence, it just goes to show, like the last one just before half time, is when Diaz hit it too hard. He's literally tried to backheel it from the penalty spot and nearly got his hat-trick. Would have been a fantastic hat-trick in the first 45 minutes.
Is his dominance of Timo Pukki down to obviously the quality of the defence Norwich got at the moment, but he's getting helped out a lot by Todd and Emi, isn't he? In terms of his responsibilities inside the 18-yard box, being creative behind him is Emi and Cantwell. If there's a chance for Timo Pukki, it's coming from Buendia or Cantwell.
Absolutely, and like completely, you never even mentioned them. Someone like, it's no coincidence that when Giannoulis is in the team, he gives them that high up the pitch balance like Max Aarons does on the other side. So it allows Pukki and Cantwell and Buendia to pick those balls up in them 10 areas to give those little slide rule passes, and they're thriving at the moment. You know, I mean, they're confident. They're not worried if one goes and it's overhit. They get on the ball 30 seconds later and try the same thing because that's what confidence does in a top team.
And you mentioned the number 10 area there, and Lucas Rupp is the one who started in that position today, but he's almost not playing as a 10. You've got Emi and Cantwell who are probably coming a bit more central than we normally see them sometimes, and Rupp's just sent a little bit deeper, and that was, again, a tactical decision by Daniel Farke because Vrancic is likely to be up there in those more advanced areas. Was Rupp's just sitting a bit more defensively minded, do you think?
Maybe, and maybe because he knows like Aarons and Giannoulis play high, you've got Cantwell and Buendia who's sort of like going to be in that 10 role. So like that gives Skip or McLean, if they have to drop into a position, Rudd hasn't got so far to come back to become that holding midfield player. So there is some thought process behind that. And like you say, he's not playing as a number 10. He's not played no real passes. He's the one that helps out Skip and McLean if they need it.
Yeah, we'll try to Gossi now, who's out in the gantry for us, Gossi. As a midfielder yourself, Gossi, who's used to bombing forward and getting goals, was that a tactical change, do you think, by Daniel Farke today in terms of playing Rupp, who's probably a little bit more defence-minded than Vrancic is?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's the reason why Cantwell's there too. I think they're very mobile as players. Rupp is more defensively than Cantwell, obviously, but I just think that they've dominated this game of football after the first sort of 5-10 minutes where they had to sit back. I was impressed with Luton's energy, enthusiasm to take the game to Norwich. But as soon as we broke them down in the first one or two attacks, the momentum was swinging our way. Our movement has been absolutely superb. And I'm really impressed with Cantwell today, the way he has joined in and faced up and been there in support of everyone who's on the ball. He wants to be the one supporting and getting it and moving. It's been, I'll be honest, it's a masterclass of possession football from Norwich.
And those two in particular, you've mentioned Emi and Cantwell, Gossi. I don't know if Rob feels the same or you feel the same. It always seems like they've matured in the last few months in terms of their They seem more grown up as footballers. They seem like they're making the right decisions, and that takes a little bit of time, doesn't it? But it does seem to me as if the mentality they've got is a little bit more grown up, and I don't mean that in a childish sense. They're just a bit more grown up in the way they're playing the game, and their decision making is good. Absolutely
right. I agree with you. It's their maturity, it's their decision making. They've got jobs to do on the team, and they've got responsibilities, but you can hold on to it and do too much and lose those responsibilities and be guilty of giving it away in bad places. I just think they've been so disciplined in how they control it, move it, support it again. And the link between those three, Pukki, Buendia, Cantwell, has been exceptional. They are on wavelengths for sure, and they're playing outstanding football today.
Gossi, we'll bring Rob into this as well, because again, Ollie Skipp we're going to talk about a little bit here. Now, he was obviously a target for Luton Town today in terms of they wanted closing down quick, and Huck's mentioned it a lot on the radio with Chris Gorham. He's that player they've targeted today to make sure they don't let him have time on the ball. And as a youngster, he's 22 now. He's not that young. He's 22. So is he a player that has shown a maturity to find a way to still be effective in the game? Because he's not been marked out of it, has he? By any stretch of the imagination. First 5-10 minutes he's been closed quick, and he had to just switch things about a little bit to find that area where he can work, and he seems to have found that.
No, Luton did well. Let's give praise where it's due. They were pressing high really early on in the game, and they were causing Norwich problems, especially down the right-hand side with Ince and Craney. They were getting forward well, putting bad crosses in for Norwich, and it was a test for them, but they withstood that. Skipp and McLean were not getting on the ball because they were being swamped by the attacking midfield players because they were pressing so high and didn't have much time on the ball. That's why the possession was all theirs, and the action was all in Norwich half. So once they withstood that, and once our fullbacks got wider as outlets and started to use those wide outlets and got the ball to Aarons and Giannoulis, then it was a different game because it spread and split Luton Town, and they went wide, which gave our midfield players a little bit more time on the ball.
And Gossi, you can join him as well in terms of defensively, but Rob, you look at the way Norwich centre-halves set up in terms of Gibson and Hanley, and we've seen it when Norwich haven't been quite so secure in front of them, where they have got now McLean and Skipp. They guard that back four really well. We've seen our central defenders be exposed at times. Yeah. They must be loving life at the minute, and they were McLean and Skipp playing in front of them.
What that allows them to do is to stay central and compact, because you know if there's like a vulnerable space in the left back or the right back position, you've got Kenny McLean, who's naturally left footed, will drop in there, and you've got Skipp, will drop in the other side. I know they can do it either sides, alternate sides, but as a central defender, you do not want to get dragged out wide, knowing that there's like a big space between your other central defender. And like I say, to have those two in front of you, and like we just said previously, if one does it and McLean goes into that left back position, you've got Rook close enough to say, well, listen, I know they need reinforcements, I've got to go alongside Skipp. So, like Gossi said, you mean like the belief in that team at the moment. If we lose possession, we've got players in the back line as all holding midfielders. We can hold them up for retreating players to recover, to make the numbers and to regain possession. So, like I say, when we've got the ball, we're looking sharp. Out of possession, we're looking so solid and compact as well.
And Gossi, if you were playing in this Norwich side at the moment, where would you kind of see yourself fitting into the system they play? Because it's a very different position to what you would play as a number 10 or central midfielder who was allowed to bomb forward. You know, you're not a defensive midfielder, you're more of an attacking midfielder, but you're not number 10. So would there have been a position for you in this side for Norwich?
Oh yeah, come on, there must be somewhere down the line. I think Cantwell, I look at Cantwell and I think that I would love to play in that position. He's got a free roll up front, his mobility is excellent, he wanders all the way across that front line, then he'll be back defending, and he literally gets it, gives it, supports the ball, gets tackles in when he needs to, puts his work rate in. So he's the guy I'd love to be able to play alongside, or indeed in place of, if I was young and fit enough still to get into this team.
I think you still get it now, Gossi, just to see one of those volleys hit again.
Easily.
Take one
I might last a minute, and that's on the bench.
So, man, Gossi, we'll see you after the game. So we're looking at those front three again, Rob. Norwich, this again, we want to look too far ahead in terms of what goes on by the end of the season, but if they gain promotion, we're still talking about a Norwich team that, as much as defensively they've been stronger this year, they still play the same format, they still stick with it. Do they need to be more adaptable in the Premier League when they're coming up against better sides? Or can they go out and play like that and beat teams in the Premier League enough to stay in it?
I think in the Premier League, if you allow Cantwell, Pukki and Buendia to be expansive and open with their game, whatever, but take away the defensive responsibilities, then they become different players. If you say, listen, you have to come back and defend, the amount of times in the Premier League, what we've seen at the end of last season, they're picking balls up in the right back areas or in the skips areas. So let them be the offensive three and have 6 or 7 saying, listen, our job is defend. We know these 3 can create chances and score chances amongst themselves. So let them go and just play the game.
But is there a risk then of in that position then they become ineffective because they've not got enough of the ball in the Premier League? As much as we've seen Norwich have plenty of possession in this league, they don't always have the bulk of the possession in the Premier League. So if that's the case and you've got your 3 front men waiting for it, generally you're doing a lot of defending, aren't you? And that's a difficult situation to be in as a Premier League team. If we'd have seen a Premier League team here today, Norwich could have been 1 or 2 down in the first 10-15 minutes. Yeah. And that's just the difference in the quality of the clinical finishing.
But what you get then, Pukki is your number 9. Cantwell and Buendia drop into their number 10 positions, but not centrally, either right and left. They can drop deeper on the halfway line. So Norwich you've still got enough men in that 7-man defence to win possession. They're not passing, they're not hopefully like kicking the ball out and think we've got to get rid of it. It's a 20-yard pass into the halfway line where Pukki and Cantwell can be. And then, like I say, the open body, receive it on the open body, 1 touch. So 2 passes, Pukki could be on goal.
But it shows it doesn't always work in the Premier League for any team, no matter how good you are. You look at Liverpool, play a similar kind of system to Norwich, yet they're having a time at the minute where they can't switch their system, they can't change what they do, and they've become a little bit ineffective in recent months.
Absolutely, but what's happened is you've got a defensive solidity that's not conceding goals. You know you're not going to be scoring 3s and 4s in the Premier League. 1 maybe, like say sometimes 2, but you're not going to score 3s and 4s all the time. So they've got to be so solid at the back. And what they've got to have is that outball and people with courage. And speaking about Cantwell today, the 2 chances that Luton had, he lost possession on the halfway line. It was down to him losing possession. No one said that. But what Cantwell's giving you, the courage to say, listen, I'll keep receiving it. And as a young kid that's wanting to do that, after 2 mistakes that's nearly cost him a goal, is credit to him. And that's why he's in the team today.
Risk makers, mate. Risk takers, they make the money. They make the dollar.
No, it's not risk takers. It's just like bad mistakes by him. He wasn't quick enough on the ball. He needs to sharpen up.
Yeah, we'll just have another little look. We've got the sticker book, the Norwich City sticker book.
You're still not in there?
I haven't looked entirely. I know Paul McVeigh's in it or not. Is it?
Hey, let it go. You're not in it.
Apparently he scored against Bradford in some, I don't know when it was.
I'm going to bring the Panini one in. Right.
But yeah, they're still available in Toffwood, I think convenience stores and other convenience stores around the county. And of course online at Norwich City's website, you can pick up this fantastic sticker book. And I'm sure you're in here somewhere, Rob.
I'm not in here. I don't think I'm in here.
I think we're in here. I spotted one sticker, which it was against Inter Milan, but that was the friendly we played here, the reunion.
Oh, okay.
Do you remember that?
I was like 2 stone heavier then.
You're still quite mobile. I was quite surprised that day.
I was. Went off with a hamstring, mate. First time I've ever pulled a hamstring in my life. Never.
Brilliant. There is another podcast, Norwich City's All in Yellow podcast coming up. Steve Weaver is the guest on this one, talking all about obviously the structure behind the academy and the under-23s down and what a wonderful job they're doing in producing the likes of Max Aarons. That we see today. Yeah, yes. Not Aarons, all this time we've been saying it.
Aarons.
But is this a pronunciation thing? Is it his name? Or is this a different...
Like you said earlier.
We say Bath, because where we're from, people around here say Bath.
Bath.
It's Bath, isn't it?
It's Bath.
It's Bath. Exactly, so is it just that?
Could be.
It's not Eddie, it's Eadie. It's not Newman.
It's not Newman. It's Newman. Yeah, it's not Newman.
Well, look, the boys are coming out for the second half. Enjoy the second half. We'll see you after the game.